Willow Creek Springs presents Healthy Living with your host, Joe Grumbine.
You know, I have a place that, my wife and I built for the last 25 years. It's a sacred garden is what it is. And it's a 2.5 acre site that has a stream that runs through it and even a little pond, and there's all kinds of trees and animals. And anyways, we're getting ready to, on a limited scale, open it up to healers. And I invited you and your family to come over. And I just think, I was wondering, does it affect, I can't imagine it wouldn't, but does it affect the outcome, like how effective you can be depending on where you are? Like if you're in the middle of the city and you've got cars whizzing by and you hear the sound of the freeway and sirens and horns honking, or if you're in a natural place where you hear, birds chirping and water splashing over rocks, and do those things affect the outcome or the effectiveness?
I think that for the person receiving, I think that does make a huge play a huge part. Mm-hmm. Because in the sense, you always want to just relax. Right, that's like the key, is to relax the person receiving. Mm-hmm. But for me as a practitioner, I can practice anywhere. I'm very good at just like tuning things out, tuning noises out, and I'm very good at just, I guess, focusing and concentrating.
Yeah, so that sounds to me like that's where the mastery comes from, is being able to get in your place where you can do this well, regardless of what's going on around you. That's a meditative grounding.
State. Yeah, a lot of meditation practice, a lot of like long deep breathing practices, to get to that point, and to get to the point where you have like control over your mind and your thoughts. And it wasn't easy, I have to say. It's not easy, but I feel
most things that are worth it are not easy.
Yeah, it wasn't easy, but now it's now it has become easier for me to just kind of get to that level where I'm just okay. As soon as I turn on the Reiki, I don't know, it's just something that's automatic within my body, and like just kind of jump into that mode, and I'm just like, okay, Reiki is on. Yeah.
So how long have you been practicing?
I've been practicing since 2017.
Okay.
2017.
And
yeah.
What drew you to this? I mean, where did you come from? That I mean, you started your story telling us about your experiences as a young child and seeing energies, and then we fast forwarded to this, but there's a bunch of stuff in between. What took you from that child who could see energy and maybe spirits or whatever, and to now a person who tunes into this energy and uses it and directs it and helps other people with it?
Well, let's see, my husband got into an accident a few years ago, maybe 10 years ago, and we were trying to find a way to, I guess, heal him and make him better without so much medication, because it was too much. So we got into yoga. We got into doing yoga, specifically Kundalini Yoga and meditation.
Okay. All right.
And we loved it. It was very easy. After a few months of him practicing that, it was easy for him to move. And then I noticed within myself there was a lot of differences in my emotions, and I was happier.
Okay.
So that was a huge one for me. Just like that feeling of, I don't know if you've ever had like a feeling of just like longing, like you're just looking for something, but you just don't know what it is.
Oh yeah, I have that all my life. And then I find one thing and then I go in long for
Yeah.
I'm an overachiever when it comes to that stuff.
Yeah. So it was just like there was something, and just I've never done meditation. I've never dabbled in energy work. I never imagined any of that. Like I was a drinker. I was not eating healthy, not really watching what I would eat, not really consciously thinking about my space and the things that I do and things like that. But and then just doing those meditations and chanting and doing all that, like it brought me back to myself, I feel.
Okay.
And I was happier. And I felt like I could see more. I don't know how to explain this, but it was just like a feeling of being whole, like being complete.
It was a feeling like you noticed something as you were practicing these healing arts, which you were doing with the yoga and the meditation and the breathing and all that. Those are healing practices.
Yeah.
So when we talk about healthy living, we'll do a whole episode on just breathing, because that's a huge thing. And I can tell you a lot about breathing because I come from the damaged lungs all my life, and I've struggled with breathing all my life. So I can tell you from that point of view all about breathing, but the value of breathing and doing it right. Like most people breathe short, panting breaths, and it doesn't work.
Yeah.
And when you learn how to just do a simple, I don't know what they call it, a box breath or something, where you breathe in and you hold it, and then you breathe out as a certain amount of time and hold it, and just doing that, you do it for even a minute, and you're like, whoa, I feel something.
I learned that as like a breath suspension. So just holding in the breath, keeping it in, and then letting it out. And just doing different types of techniques, like doing 4 deep breaths in and then holding it and then releasing it. It does something to your body. Energizing, one's calming, one's a certain thing. But we can get into that too later.
We could talk about a whole episode about that, but it's wild though how most people are and not getting anything out of it, when just these simple practices, and even just that alone is like a lifetime of work. Like you could master that, and that would be all you did was just breathe, right? I mean, you could put that much energy into it and still not tap your potential. But it's crazy though when you do the same thing with meditation. There are some people who become monks, and they'll sit for 3 days in a row, and they don't say a word to anybody, and they're just in a meditative state. And I've heard some of these people do interviews, and it's wild how you can go down these rabbit holes in any of these little places. But you also have to sacrifice when you do that, because there's only one of you, and there's only 24 hours, and you got 2 arms and 1 mouth and 2 eyes, and we live in a temporal world, whether we like it or not. So you having a family, and there's this whole element of the real world, if you will, that you have to take into consideration with all of these spiritual magical practices, if you will. And it's kind of wild though how the master, and I use that term maybe just accurately, somebody who's really good at something becomes a master. That's you're a master chef when you get really good at it, right?
There's master chefs, that's right.
or I mean, if it's just like a musician, you're a professional, a master musician. They say you put your 10,000 hours in. Well, that's a long time, but by the time you're done doing it, if you're serious about it, you'll be really good at it. And maybe that's what it is. Yeah, but just like anything, a doctor, a lawyer, anybody who is involved in a healing practice, I don't mean lawyers in that same category, but of an intense study, they practice. They don't perform, they practice. They're always practicing. Like you never get to the top, because there is no top. And so there isn't a place where you're like, okay, I did it.
Yeah, no, like I'm done.
There isn't that. Like you might be able to do certain thing, and maybe like in martial arts, they have these different levels that you can accomplish, but there's no finish. Like you could always go another degree,
Yeah.
another degree. And
Yeah.
I think that this is definitely like that. And if you take it like that, maybe you get the most out of it. What about children? Is this something that you could perform or work with a child?
Oh yeah, definitely. I just had a session with a little girl last week. I think she was getting ready to go to surgery. So her mom, someone had mentioned to her mom that Reiki was a pretty good modality to try before surgery. And she's like, okay, I've never heard of it. I never tried. One of her friends I did a session on one of her friends, and her friend told her, and that's how it usually happens. It's just word of mouth. And
Right. The best things are always that way.
Yeah, so her friend told her, and she's like, hey, you gotta come check this out, and you gotta come talk to her. And yeah, I did and for children, it's a lot, they receive faster. Like you were saying, children are they're easier to work with because they're so innocent, and they don't, life has not happened to them yet.
Right. Yeah, they haven't put up all the walls yet.
Yeah, so that for children, I would only do like 10 minutes.
Okay.
I think the little girl was about 5 or 6. And she did so well. And usually what I do with kids, it's like a playtime. What I do is like I ask them like, hey, like, just get to play with them, and then just start laying my hands on them as I'm playing with them or talking to them. So they don't even know what's going on. Some of the late, when we were done, the little girl
going, hey, we're gonna have a session here.
Yeah, like we're just playing. We're just having some playtime, and and I go and talk to her, and I hold her, and sometimes I'll sit them on my lap, or sometimes I'll just bring toys in and literally just play with them as I'm Reikiing them. And I don't really have to put my hands on, but if they're close enough, I'll just, because kids fidget, they move around. They're not gonna lay down. They're
I couldn't imagine a kid laying still for any length of time to go and get anything done. I don't know how pediatricians even deal with little kids.
Yeah, it's tough. But yeah, they receive very well. And yeah, she was really happy. She was really excited. And it really helped her mom, because she didn't know like some of the things that were going on with the little girl.
Wow.
Like we picked up on some pain that she was having, and the mom had no idea that she was in pain. So, and then she didn't know that the reason, like why she was getting so tired, it was because the issue that she had, or whatever, her issue or her challenge that was part of the symptom. It would get her really tired.
Oh, okay. That makes sense. Now, in listening to you again, I've learned a lot. I read your article, and I did a little bit more reading, and it's funny, I've known a number of Reiki practitioners in my life. I've never had a treatment done. I've had massage done. I like massage. I've had, my wife is like really, really sensitive. So if we ever get a massage, she always gets hurt. It's too much for her, where I can get beat on and it's okay. And but even acupuncture I've done. I like that. I've done had acupressure done. I've had all kinds of different even cupping and all kinds of different things I've had done, but never Reiki. So I now, the fact that we've had a couple of conversations, I'm very intrigued about it. I definitely want to learn. But one thing that
Sorry. Go ahead. We have a bunch of cats.
I can see that. That's cool. I was wondering, one of the things that brought me into this arena, two things brought me into this arena. One was my lung condition, and that's how I began studying plant medicine back almost 35 years ago, because I didn't like the Western medicine solutions for that. And so I began a journey that continues today. But the other thing is about little over 4 years ago, I began a journey to lose weight, and I lost 50 pounds. My dad passed away 6 years ago at 70 years old. And, I turned 56 this last year, and I'm like, I'm no way. Like I'm nowhere near, but I was starting to look like him, and I was going down the same road, and I made some dramatic changes in my life, and I've been able to manage that and live the life now. It's not just, it's not a diet, it's not exercise, it's a lifestyle. But one of the things that I realized in all that, and plus I've known lots of people in my life that have struggled with addiction. I've had addictions that I've had to deal with in my life. Even, addiction is even just bad habits. Like I have addiction to procrastinating. We all do. Human beings are creatures of procrastination, and I struggle with that every day. And I work at getting over that, right? And all the other bad habits we have. Otherwise, we'd be perfect. And so I don't consider that any different. Like, whatever your bad habit is, that's your problem. That's your addiction. That's your whatever, call it vice or whatever. I would think that this Reiki could be very beneficial to things like that. Somebody was struggling with a weight problem, or struggling with a substance problem, or anything. I mean, it could even be a relationship. People are drawn to bad relationships, or they tolerate bad treatment, or whatever. There's everything that goes wrong, right? The world's got no shortage of that. I would think that Reiki would be especially when you were talking about that solar plexus. Is that was the
chakra,
and you were talking about where your what I called integrity, but where your willpower, because willpower is a funny thing. We could talk we probably will talk about that in another day, but the point is that that's where a lot of people, you run out. Like you only have a certain amount every day. You wake up and you have this much, and then you use it up and you don't have any more. And they say people make all the bad choices in the end of the day because you're tired. And so, and in the morning, you're not thinking about making choices. So we waste all our willpower, in the morning. So what do you think? Have you used Reiki with the intention of helping people make lifestyle changes?
Oh yeah, definitely. Like remember how I was saying earlier that they've come in with one thing and they leave with a whole bunch of other things. Yeah, so a lot of usually people come in with or come to see me about physical issues or physical things. And I pick up on mostly emotional things that they have going on, and they're like, whoa, I didn't think that you were gonna pick up on this. And usually the things that I pick up on, it's because it needs to be brought up, it needs to be worked on by the person, or it needs to come to their awareness of what's going on with themselves. And it's interesting because when I was taught like the yogic philosophy and like Reiki and with energy, I was taught that usually emotions or mental things then later become physical.
Okay.
And that's what I see usually. And it's really interesting because with relationships, it's usually here in the heart chakra. The heart relates to relationships, love, all types of relationships, not only just, it could be with yourself. And then I find that the person has a hurt wrist, or like their hands ache, or they're hurt, or they had an accident, something that relates to this part of the body. And then I ask them like, hey, what's going on with this? They're like, oh yeah, I just had a breakup, or something happened with my relationship. Yeah, and it kind of correlates to whatever's going on. And I'm like, okay, so there's something here. So first it hits the body, and maybe energetically, it could be emotional, mental, stress, and then it becomes something manifested in the physical form that could be relating to the arms, and I've seen it in different places too. I've seen it in other parts of the body, which is really interesting.
So how do you practice, in the sense of like, do you have a clinic that you work out of, or do you do you work? Do you have do people make appointments, or how does it work? Like I don't generally drive around, like you'll see a massage place, or you'll see even an acupuncture clinic, or you'll see, you know, different, some modalities you will see a shop where there's a place that, you know, you can go and call up and make an appointment. But I don't know that I've ever driven around and anywhere and seen a Reiki shop. So
Yeah, same. To be more.
maybe time there was.
Yeah. So right now I work a lot from home.
Okay.
Believe it or not, Reiki can work at distance.
Oh,
I do a lot of distance work. So I work here from home. I live in Santa Ana in Orange County. But I have been doing in-persons lately in Long Beach.
okay.
I'll probably just be there starting in January.
Okay.
We're going to be doing Wellness Thursdays.
All right.
So we're going to be doing donation-based modalities. We have, like, I'm going to be doing Reiki. We have a lady doing oil treatments. They're called Shirodara.
Mm-hmm.
It's like a dripping oil on the third eye. It's very relaxing.
Okay.
We have foot soaks. We have, or you can just come hang out and chat and have some tea. You don't have to do the modalities. And it's all donation based. It's called the House of Broadway in Long Beach.
Where is it?
It's on Temple and Broadway Avenue in Long Beach.
Okay.
Like right by PCH, right by the beach area.
Every Thursday, what time?
Every Thursday. So it starts at 5 p.m. and we'll do, I think, from like 5 to like 7 or 8 p.m.
Okay.
It's by appointment. I'll send you the link for the House of Broadway. So yeah, we're doing by appointment only, and it's all donation based.
Due to when we when we publish this episode, I'm creating a link to your profile as a guest, and we'll have whatever links you want to add to that. So that way, if somebody's listening to an episode, they're like, oh, wow, how do I get a hold of that person? They'll be able to do it. So that's kind of part of my goal with this, is to be able to reach people through this platform, and for people to be able to find you. If they listen to you, like, wow, I got to do that, you know, try that out. Because that's where I'm at. I want to try this and experience it. And so we'll learn where this place is and the time and all of that. You were saying that, you know, you do treatments from your home. Is it just been word of mouth? Like you did a treatment on one person and they told somebody, that's how you've done this?
Yeah, since I first started at my friend's dermatology office. She was really nice enough to rent me a small office there. Mm-hmm. And we would go back and forth. Like, she would send me her clients and I would send her clients, and she'd say, like, you got to try her out. And at this time I was just practicing. Like, okay. I was doing donation-based sessions just because I was practicing. I just wanted to learn. I literally was just practicing. I just wanted to hone my practice and just practice with as many people as I could. So I was just doing donation-based at that time. And then from there, the pandemic happened. She had to close down her space. So then that really led me to work more on my distance work. And I would just tell my friends, like, hey, you want to do a distance Reiki with me? And so let me practice on you and things like that. And then they would tell a friend, and then that would tell a friend, and then they would tell a friend.
So how do you direct, like, I mean, for me, obviously, like, everything's connected to everything. So if you plug yourself into that, I guess you don't even need to really know where they are. But is that how it works with you? You just kind of let yourself be connected, or do you have to know where they're at, or how do you...
No, I don't have to know where they're at. Honestly, some of my clients, I really don't even know where they are. I just need to know their birthday and their name.
Okay.
I have a picture of them.
All right.
yeah, and then it'll be and sometimes I feel that the distance Reiki is more effective, I want to
Really?
say.
Wow.
Yeah, I don't know if it's because I'm just sitting down in meditation and then just, I don't have to be moving around as if I'm in person. So maybe I'm just even more relaxed and just receiving more or seeing more.
All right.
But yeah, it's almost the same. I give a huge review to the person. I do the 30 minutes. I do a sacred geometry grid with crystals.
Okay.
I use my proxy, which is like a piece of paper where it looks like a person, and I just put like crystals on the person. There's a symbol that connects. There's a Reiki symbol that connects me to whoever's receiving. And
Okay.
there's a prayer and intention and
Can I sign up for tomorrow?
for tomorrow. Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah. No, I mean, I want to do it in person, but I mean, if you can do it remotely, let's do that first.
Yeah, I can do both. Yeah.
But my invitation to your whole family is 100%. I'd love to have you. I'd love to meet your family. I'd love to meet your husband, your kids.
Thank you. Yes.
Let's share a meal and walk the gardens and
That's exciting.
I think there's something. I know Long Beach is the opposite direction, but it's not that much farther. It's a little bit farther, but not that much farther. And I think your kids, I know, are going to love it because it's just a total playground for kids. They're going to run around to their heart's content and look under things and climb up things. And it's just.
Okay. Well, our kid's 18, but she's still a kid.
Okay. All right. Why did I think you had a little kid?
No, she's 18.
Maybe. You told me you had a young child, I thought.
Maybe. I don't know. No.
Oh, maybe. I don't know where I had it in my mind that you had a young child. All right. Well, your 18-year-old would enjoy it as well. It's a beautiful place. So, nonetheless, I think that would be great. Now, kind of the final point here, because I know we're going to have to wrap it up. We're running out of time. I mean, we could go on, but I think just having this segment is good. We have lots we can talk about. Hopefully you felt real comfortable and.
Yes, thank you. Yeah, that's great.
It's been a great session so far. You teach this, so that really intrigues me as well. So how does that work? Like, what do you like if somebody comes to you, like somebody, and says, "I'd sure like to learn how to do Reiki." What's the process?
So it usually happens when a few people start to ask me. That's all I usually do.
All right, nudge, yeah.
Yeah, it's a few people. Like, that was like the first time it happened. I got like 3 or 4 messages. A few of my friends, some people that I didn't know. Mm-hmm. They're like, "Hey, when are you gonna teach? Do you teach this?"
Yeah.
Okay, I guess I'm gonna teach. It's like, I guess I'm gonna teach. So then I made my own handbook. I have it right here.
Nice.
So I give that with the course. I do like a 1, 2, and a 3 different levels. So the first level is just to allows you to practice on yourself, your friends, your family, plants, animals. You can you can infuse Reiki with anything pretty much. You can put it in your water, your food, which I love to do, medicine, pretty much anything, your car. If you have like an important date, like court date, I usually send Reiki like whenever I have important meetings, important dates and things like that, just to make sure, like court dates or people are going. Yeah, like one time I sent Reiki to the whole building of the court so that whoever, my friend, whatever is doing going on trial or whatever it is that they're doing, everybody could have a good day and be on,
I wish I would have known you about 10 years ago.
So everybody be in a good mood. Yeah. And then I sometimes I send in colors and in energy and colors. Like I'll send pink to my friend. She loves me to send pink.
Nice.
So I'll send like pink to her home, and she says she kind of sees it like rain, kind of almost.
Nice.
Because she's also very perceptive, so she can also see and feel energy.
Mm-hmm.
So she sees it in pink, and then I have a quick story to share.
Sure.
I'm not gonna say where I was working, but I was working at a place, and every time that I was driving to my work, I would have the intention of creating like a big, beautiful pink sphere around it. Okay. So pink usually is a color of love in Reiki, and in energies is love, compassion, healing, relationships of higher frequencies. It's the thymus. It's another chakra that we are started to, well, evolution, we're starting to create more chakras. Also another one has opened here in our thymus, and that's the pink, and it's also relating to the heart, but in a higher frequency of love. So I started doing that, bringing that just to have a calm space, a peaceful space to work. And I noticed a few months in, everybody started getting into relationships.
Oh, really?
Yes. Yeah.
Cynthia, the matchmaker.
Yeah, I was like, what am I doing? I was like, oops, should I? Like, oops.
Oh, that's hilarious. Wow.
Yeah, things like that, will happen, and I'm just like, oh, what did I do?
Well, we'll be talking on this podcast about relationships and the importance of them, because I think that's a big part of the human condition and healthy living. There's very few people that can be healthy and solitary. I think we all have in our genetic code, in our spark of divinity that we have inside of us, there's a need and a part of us that is part of a group. Relationships are just, in my opinion, when I see somebody who's had a marriage for a while and is happy in their marriage, that's powerful to me, because I have that too. I've got 26 years, and there's a thing of a good relationship that it's indescribable, and it's not good in the sense of, oh my God, it's so amazing all the time. It's good in that it's so solid that it can go through ups and downs and be good. And so there's something about that, like the world is so full of chaos and uncertainty, and to have even one thing that you could be sure of is so huge in life. And so, I've always thought that there's magic there. I'm always looking for the magical parts of life, and because that's what all of this is. And so I think there's just something about that element of it, the relationships being so healing. As we get older, we lose people. We lose a lot of people. And as I'm getting older, I'm like, crap, everybody I know is dying, and not everybody, I just know a lot of people, and I've lost a lot of people. And every time somebody gets close to passing, you realize how important that relationship is. Like, nothing else really matters. Like, that's really all there is in life, is these relationships. And so, for you to be able to be a part of even, encouraging that to happen in any way, shape, or form, to me, I think is a true healing. So
yeah, it's important. Like having is it conscious relationships?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, listen, we're getting kind of to the end of the time that we have, but I definitely want to give you a chance to tell us all about how somebody could connect with you. I'm hoping that, like I said, I'm serious. I want to set up a remote session for tomorrow, and then let's figure out when we can get you guys to come on over and
yeah.
Place. Like I said, we'll make dinner and enjoy it. But how does somebody get a hold of you if they wanted to learn more, learn how to practice this, or schedule a session or anything else? How do they get a hold of you?
They can email me. My email is Reiki by Cynthia at yahoo.com. I'm working on my website. I'm gonna get a website since I haven't really had the need because everybody's just referral.
Right.
So, but no, I think for my first time people and just people that I'm starting to really kind of put myself out there more as far, because before I didn't really market and things like that. So now I'm really kind of putting myself out there.
Good.
So yeah, I'm that's in the works. I was actually working on it before we started this chat.
Nice.
Yeah, so I'm gonna do that, and then hopefully in January I'm gonna also start a training. Hopefully at the end of January.
All right.
I'll do a level 1 probably in Long Beach.
Okay.
And then if you ever want to do one at your home and just like for you and your family,
Yeah.
we can set something up and just have a training just for you and your family at your home.
All right.
Because kids can be attuned also to
Okay.
Reiki. I actually when I was doing my training, there was a 10-year-old in our training with her
Really?
mom. Yeah, her mom and they were both doing the training.
Wow.
Yeah. So yeah, kids can do it. Anyone can pretty much do it. And not everybody gets trained to do it professionally, like to see clients. They just do it for their self-growth or
Yeah, that's what would be my interest. I mean, actually, in talking to you now, I'm more than ever convinced that I need to do it because the medicines and the products that I make with a lot of intention, but I think that this could add another level to it. And you know, I put intention into things, which in some level is the same thing, but I don't do it with any particular training. I just do it.
yeah.
And so I can't help but think that I could learn some things that would help make that even better.
Yeah, it would. Oh yeah, I always Reiki everything. My water, my medicine. I just like hold it in my hands, and then yeah, and just a little bit goes a long way. And yeah, of course, I'm always available, and I'd love to teach and help.
Fantastic. Well, I don't think I have your phone number, so if you could email that to me,
Yeah.
then that way we can coordinate all this.
Yes.
Cynthia, it's been an absolute treat. As always, the time goes by so quick, but I am looking forward to getting these episodes up there and released. And it's actually perfect time now. All my animals are going up. But as we take this podcast farther down the road, and we're going to be talking about all sorts of elements that we've touched on here today. I'd love to have you back to get your thoughts and ideas about that, and certainly would welcome anybody else that you thought would be a good guest to point them on over this way.
Awesome. Yeah, I will for sure let some of my friends know.
Wonderful.
And thanks for having me. Thank you for having me. It was such a pleasure, and can't wait to connect and to write more.
All right, Cynthia, thank you so much again. We'll talk soon. We'll talk tomorrow. So get me that information and I'll call you tomorrow and we can set it up.
Okay, sounds good.
All right, take care. Thank you again.
Bye. Take care.